SEC filings are filled with useful investing information, but finding the data you need can be a huge challenge, especially if you're a new investor. In this video, we'll show you the step-by-step process to go straight to the most useful part of a company's quarterly and annual filings. My name is Brian Feroldi.
And my name is Brian Stoffel.
Thanks to Quarter for sponsoring today's video. So Brian, what is this most useful part that we are talking about?
Well, Brian, this section has a really fun name to say out loud. It's Management's Discussion and Analysis of Financial Condition and Results of Operations. That's a mouthful. To make it easier, we just call it MD&A, Management's Discussion and Analysis.
The branding on this section is awful, but this section is filled with incredibly useful information that investors can use. Let's first go to how to find this information in the first place. Head on over to the SEC's free website and go to their EDGAR database. Then click on the company search section and put in the ticker symbol of the company you're searching up. In this example, we're going to use HubSpot, which is ticker HUBS. Once that search is complete, you're going to be looking for the most recent 10Q or 10K. In some cases, that's right in the latest filing section. If it's not there, click the section that says 10K annual reports and 10Q quarterly reports. Open that up and click the most recent one. Once you're in there, head on down to the table of contents and click those words, Management's Discussion and Analysis of Financial Conditions and Results of Operations.
So why include the MD&A? Well, according to the SEC, the reason to include this is to provide a narrative explanation of a company's financial statements. The best way of thinking about this is its management taking data and turning that data into a coherent story.
It also is a chance for management to go over the company's financial results in detail and show you the key metrics that the management team is focused on.
We believe that if you know where to look in the MD&A, you can find the pot of gold, the secret that will help you become a better investor.
Now, to show you this, we're going to go over examples of 3 different companies that are in 3 different industries. We're going to talk about a software as a service company, we're going to talk about an e-commerce company, and we're going to talk about a fintech. Importantly, managements get a lot of leeway with the results that they present in this section, and every company's going to have metrics that they focus on. So let's first start by talking about Unity Software, which is a software as a service company that we did a deep dive video on. Click the link that you see on your screen if you're interested in watching that.
Now, if you're looking into Unity Software, 2 of the things that you'd like to find out about is 1, what's their customer count? How many people are building things on their platform? And 2, what's the dollar-based net retention or expansion? Either one can be used, and you need to look at the definitions to see that you know what they're talking about. But those are 2 useful pieces of information you won't find anywhere else in a filing.
Let's start with customer count. If you scroll down to the MD&A, you'll notice that there's a section called Customers Contributing More Than $100,000 in Revenue. Sounds like an important metric for us investors to know. What you find out in the company's most recent filing is that the number of customers spending $100K each year went from 739 to 973. That's a wonderful sign and shows you the value of digging into the details of this section.
Next, you might want to find out about the company's dollar-based net expansion, which really lets you know how much existing customers are spending from year to year. If you scroll down a little more, you find the section and you can easily see that it says that what was 144% last year at the same time is now 142%. While that means it's gone down a little bit, this still means that existing customers are spending 40% more every year, which is a great sign for business. The company also does a great job of showing you the trends over time. Now, this isn't something they're required to do, but some companies give better visuals than others, and we can see how Unity is performed on this metric over time.
Now let's pivot to talking about a completely different company, a completely different industry, AirBNB, which we would say is an e-commerce company of sorts. What are the key metrics here for investors to look at? Well, how about the number of customers that are on the platform? How about gross merchandising volume, which is the total dollar volume that's flowing through Airbnb's network? And in some cases, some companies will even tell you the number of items that are bought. That's not applicable in this case, but it's really helpful for some other e-commerce sites.
Now, as Brian pointed out, every company is different. So instead of a customer count or items bought, Airbnb focuses on nights and experiences that are purchased. Because remember, you don't just find a place to stay, you can buy an experience. And when you read down, you see that the company had roughly 62 million nights and experiences last year, but in this quarter, they had almost to 80 million, an incredible growth rate.
Another category in Airbnb's management discussion analysis look for is gross bookings value. Some other e-commerce companies will call this gross merchandising volume, or GMV. If you look at Airbnb's recent results, you see that in the year ago period, they had $8 billion in total value flowing through in the network. And in the most recent quarter, that figure jumped to nearly $12 billion. Again, this is a key metric for investors to look at.
The final example that we're going to look at is MercadoLibre. And they have many businesses, but we're going to look specifically for the company's financial technology or fintech solution, which is called Mercado Pago. Now, if you're looking at a fintech company, there are a couple variables that you're going to want to check on. The first is a customer count. How many people are using the product? The second are the number of transactions that occur using this tool. The last is the total payment volume, which is very similar to gross booking volume or gross merchandise volume. The point being, this is how much money exchanged hands using this tool.
Now, where can you find this key information? In MercadoLibre's case, you have to scroll down to the section in MD&A that says Other Data. If you zoom in on that, you can get exactly that information that Brian just mentioned. You can see that total payment volume in the most recent quarter jumped from 14.5 billion to almost 21 billion. And you can see that the number of transactions that the company recorded jumped from 560 million to 865 million. Huge increase. We hope that this data shows you the value of digging into the SEC filings and looking at that key section, management's discussion and analysis of financial conditions and results of operations. It's a mouthful. It's really poorly branded and can be hard to find, but it is filled with useful information for investors. If you enjoyed watching this video, then it's clear that you want to learn more about the companies that you invest in. Another great tool that you can use to do just that is Quarter, which is the sponsor of today's video. With Quarter, you get frictionless access to conference calls, investor presentations, transcripts, and earnings reports from markets all around the world straight to your pocket for no cost. Quarter's mission is to change the way that people look at investor relations and to create a completely new bridge between companies and their stakeholders. The first step on this journey is to let users interact with the company's content while they're listening live. If you're interested in getting Quarter for free and supporting our channel, head on over to the App Store of your choice and search for Quarter. That's Quartr. Thanks, Quarter, for sponsoring today's video. We hope that you use this information to dig deeper into the company's financial statements and invest better yourself. Brian's out.